My mother called her cruelty discipline when I was a child, so I gave her a masterclass in her own lessons. My mother Caroline had a reputation as the best parent in town, but behind closed doors, she was punishing me brutally. She'd stab a knife through my leg and then lock me in a room while I cried and bled. Then she'd call it discipline and tell the doctors I was just being naughty. When I was 7 and forgot to make my bed, she locked me in the basement for 3 days with nothing but water and stale bread. When I started crying, she told me prisoners of war survived on less, so I should be grateful. By age 10, her methods had evolved after she talked to other moms like her. When I accidentally broke a plate washing dishes, she made me kneel on rice for 6 hours. Whenever my knees shifted, she would add more and tell me, "This builds endurance and teaches you hardship." My knees bled through my jeans and left permanent scars that I still feel when it rains. The worst came at 13 when I failed a math test. She filled the bathtub with ice water, held me under, and counted to 30 before letting me up for air. Navy SEALs train like this. You'll thank me when you're stronger than everyone else. She did this for an hour, precise with her stopwatch, making me recite multiplication tables between dunkings. When I passed out, she revived me and called it a lesson in mental fortitude. I escaped at 18 and disappeared into college across the country. I changed my name, blocked every number, and built a life where no one knew what darkness had raised me. But then she found me. She showed up at my office one day with tears and cancer diagnosis papers, playing the abandoned mother perfectly. "I only have 6 months," she sobbed in front of my coworkers. "I just want my son back before I die." She had already moved herself into my apartment while I was at work and said she needed her only family through chemotherapy. That night I stared at her sleeping in my bed and realized she hadn't changed one bit. The cancer might be real, but so was that same cold, calculating stare in her eyes. The next day, she said the words that sealed her fate. "You turned out so well. Imagine if I hadn't toughened you up when you were weak." Then she laughed, without any remorse or acknowledgement of the abuse, just pride. That's when I knew exactly what I had to do. I became the perfect caregiver. I started driving her to every appointment and held her hand through treatments. I let her think she'd won, that her son was still her slave. That entire time, I was making plans. I suggested to her we move somewhere quieter for her recovery. Then I found a perfect cabin 2 hours from the nearest neighbor. She thought the isolation would mean I couldn't escape, so she agreed. I stocked it with her medical supplies and food, which made her happy, but she had no idea about what was coming. I started off by forgetting her anti-nausea medication and watched her retch until she begged. "Sorry, Mom, the pharmacy was closed. You always said I needed to learn from discomfort, right?" She was too sick to drive herself. I controlled every pill, every meal, every moment of relief. Then I started preparing elaborate dinners, filling the cabin with the smell of her favorite foods like spaghetti and steak. But then I ate those by myself and fed her nothing but porridge and water. If she tried arguing, I'd tell her that these are the doctor's orders. "Remember my 3 days in the basement? This is nothing compared to that." She went silent after I said that. 1 month into living together, I gave her an ice bath. I filled the tub exactly as she had, set up my stopwatch, and dropped her shaking body into the water. I counted to 30, just like Navy SEALs did, and recited multiplication tables while holding her head down. She started sobbing when she came up, and although it broke my heart a little, I didn't stop. "Why are you doing this to me? I am old and weak. When I did it to you, you were young and needed discipline." I just laughed and said, "You were in control then, I'm in control now. If you don't like it, then you can leave." But we were in a lone cabin, so she couldn't really leave until I drove her to a city. She realized that and cried even harder. 1 week after that, I sprayed rice on her bedroom floor and took away the bed. Then I sat on a chair and read my journal entries about her punishments while she struggled to sleep. She lasted 4 months, and I just found her one morning not breathing anymore. The doctor said it was peaceful and patted me on the back. At her funeral, people praised me for being a devoted son and helping her through her illness. One woman even said, "Caroline was so lucky to have you caring for her." I nodded solemnly, knowing that she had died finally understanding what real hardship felt like.